U.S. President Barack Obama comes to Europe to say farewell. And once again, the commander-in-chief sounds very much like the consoler-in-chief. I'm Brent Goff, and this is The Day.
We believe that a strong, prosperous, and unified Europe is not only good for the people of Europe, but good for the world and good for the United States.
The Obama doctrine of solidarity. Are its days numbered, just like the administration of Barack Obama? The U.S. president reassuring Europe that when he leaves, the U.S.'s commitment will not depart with him.
It continues to be a cornerstone of our security that is unwavering, and it is something that provides significant continuity, even as we see a transition of governments in the United States.
Also on this show, in Berlin, a moment of fall foliage folly has the entire city talking. What exactly happened? We'll tell you, but please don't leave the train.
Start to fall.
Welcome to the program, everyone. Security very high tonight here in Berlin and across Germany. The U.S. president arrives tomorrow. Today, police conducted raids in 60 cities. The battle to stop radicalizing young men and women. That's coming up later in the show. We begin the day with a leader about to leave. U.S. President Barack Obama arrived in Greece today to begin his farewell visit to Europe. Now, in normal times, a departing U.S. president would craft his final statements to build and solidify his legacy, to reassure himself that his work will go on. Well, these are not normal times. Obama landed today and found a continent worried and jittery. In 2 months, the era of Obama will be history, and Donald Trump will become U.S. president. Now, Trump could very well, with the stroke of a pen, erase much of what has defined Obama's America. Trump has also signaled an end to 70 years of fundamental U.S. foreign policy. In Greece, it quickly became obvious this U.S. president is here not only to say goodbye, but also to say everything will be okay.
I still don't feel responsible for what the president-elect says or does, but I do feel a responsibility as President of the United States to make sure that I facilitate a good transition, and I present to him, as well as the American people, my best thinking, my best ideas about how you move the country forward. A pretty healthy majority of the American people agree with my worldview on a whole bunch of things. And I know that that begs the question, well, how is it that somebody who appears to have a very different worldview just got elected? As I said, sometimes people just feel as if we want to try something to see if we can shake things up. And that, I suspect, was a significant phenomenon.
That was U.S. President Barack Obama there speaking in Athens. Well, I'm joined now on the line by Anthi Karasava, correspondent in Athens. Good evening to you, Anthi. Obama cannot tell Greece that the next president shares his policies or his values. What do the Greek people want to hear from him?
Well, they want to hear from Obama exactly what they did hear from him, which was a commitment that he will continue to press international creditors for debt relief. And it's very important that President Obama is flying into Berlin tomorrow to speak to the head of the European powerhouse economy and try and ease off any kind of resistance to this persistent kind of plea by Greece that it does receive some kind of debt relief. Now, whether that will actually be achieved remains to be seen, because the new administration that comes in under Donald Trump simply doesn't want anything to do in trying to help dig Greece out of its debt crisis, and simply has said that he will leave everything up to Germany. So Greeks did in fact hear what they wanted, but it remains to be seen how much of this will actually be materialized.
Is there a fear there in Greece, Anthony, that a President Donald Trump will not be an ally of the Greek people? I mean, Greece is, after all, the epicenter of the Euro crisis.
Well, absolutely. I mean, and I think that the government right now is trying to recalibrate its stance against the new administration. It took a huge bet in really pinning its hopes on the election of Hillary Clinton. The prime minister here was openly heard, publicly heard among Greek Americans, rooting and cheering for Hillary Clinton, even calling Donald Trump evil. And they simply know that Donald Trump will not be as supportive as the current president has been in Greece's financial crisis. But at the same time, many people I've been speaking to here from the government are saying that they are in a wait-and-see mode as to how this new government, this new administration in the United States will proceed, pretty much like the rest of the world.
All right, correspondent Anthony Kalasava reporting from Athens, Greece tonight on that first stop of President Obama's farewell visit to Europe. Anthony, thank you very much. Well, Europe preparing to say goodbye to President Obama and asking what kind of president it will be dealing with come January. Well, to talk about that, to talk about what we know and what we don't know, I'm joined now by the Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Dana Priest from the Washington Post. Good evening to you, Dana. We appreciate you taking the time to be on the day with us. I want to start with something that you retweeted today. You retweeted a tweet from Elliot Cohen today, a former counselor at the State Department. And Cohen writes, after an exchange with the Trump transition team, I've changed my recommendation. Stay away. They're angry, arrogant, screaming, you lost. This will be ugly. What in the world are reporters, what are we supposed to do in an environment like that?
Well, we're trying to figure out how they are managing to get a team together, because even today we have people who we thought were going to be on the team who apparently, some of them have been kicked off, like Mike Rogers, who was a Republican and viewed as someone with a lot of experience and intelligence. Rudy Giuliani is no longer anymore in play for Attorney General, and Ben Carson no longer in play for Education Secretary. The significance of the Elliot Cohen tweet is that Elliot Cohen is a neoconservative, backed many of the Bush administration's proposals and plans and war plans. He is not a liberal by any means. And he was open-minded to give Trump the benefit of the doubt, like many national security professionals in Washington were, who said there was a big debate that was going on in the last couple of weeks, which is, will you go in and give them your expertise as a professional if they ask? And some people said, I can't do that. And others said, that's our duty. And Elliot Cohen is signifying, his tweet is, that he tried, but they were just too obnoxious with their response. So he's saying to his professional friends, don't give it a try. I don't know if that will hold. There's always commotion around a transition, but this one obviously is much worse and it's still up in the air.
Today, U.S. President Obama, as well as the head of NATO, Mr. Stoltenberg, both gave reassuring comments on Trump's commitment to NATO and to transatlantic alliances. Is the Pentagon convinced of that? I mean, what are you hearing?
I really think people are waiting to see. I really think people are speaking right now for Donald Trump who aren't part of the Donald Trump administration. And like Obama in a way, he wants to, just like he did yesterday in his press conference, he wants to calm people down. He wants to say, give them the benefit of the doubt. Alliances will maintain, an important part in our national security world. But Trump, so far from what we see, he's still surrounding himself by people who very much agree with what he said during the campaign. So how he makes the transition is not at all clear. I think defense experts are still very wary. You've heard about the call he made to Putin. Today, Senator John McCain came out and really condemned any kind of closeness with Putin, calling him, you have to treat him like an old KGB head. And so you have, the national security establishment still pushing back with Trump. And Trump, we don't see any signs so far that Trump is reaching out to those people or his administration is reaching out to those people successfully. What we have so far is the opposite. Someone like Mike Rogers is out. There's another counselor who, his name is not well known, who's also out. And so this is for the professionals, I think, who aren't partisan, but who do believe in a certain type of stability among allies.
Yeah.
It's worrisome.
Dana, let me ask you about some news that's been happening here in Germany tonight. A member of German Chancellor Angela Merkel's Conservative Party said this evening that Merkel will, in fact, run for a fourth term as chancellor next year. What does this do to the foreign policy calculus of a Trump administration, based, of course, on the little that we know at this point?
Well, Angela Merkel now is a known quantity. She's a leader, if not the leader, of Europe and of NATO in a sense. And therefore, he knows what he's getting. How they will work with her, I mean, she has been open to working with Trump, like you would think. But really, those two have very different policies, and so how that will actually happen, I'm really, really eager to see, especially because she's a woman. And because Donald Trump, even people who want to give him some honeymoon period, as we call it here, to govern, there are many women who still are so angry at how he came off about women, how he treated women in the various things that we've seen, that I think, personally speaking, I'm relishing the idea of him meeting with a powerful leader like Angela Merkel and just meeting as equals and having their own positions and seeing how he will react to her.
So Dana, are you saying...
from a very personal level, I think people are wanting to see how that works out.
Are you saying that you think that because basically he can't have what, a lot of people have called this bromance with Angela Merkel, he can't have something that he's having with Putin, that from the beginning then will make things difficult for relations between the U.S. and Germany?
I'm not sure they'll make it difficult. I just want to see the chemistry there. And I think as a woman in the national security field, I just want to see the chemistry. He's got so much baggage with women. Is he going to put that aside when he has to deal with a strong equal? And what kind of signals is he going to send? How is he going to listen? How much is he going to compromise? I mean, those are basic things we want to see all around, but then you add the fact that she is who she is, and I think that everybody will be watching that very closely.
All right. Dana Priest, Pulitzer Prize winning journalist with The Washington Post. Dana, we thank you for taking the time to be on the day and for giving us your insights. We appreciate it. Thank you.